Hey, this is Chris from Airguns of Arizona, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to mount onto a dovetail rail, specifically a spring gun, the extra pieces that we need for the mounts to do this correctly. So I'm going to be using the Sportsmatch TO2Cs today. They were some of my favorite mounts. With spring guns, it's extremely crucial that you use the arrestor pin, sometimes called the stop pin, and what that's going to do is go right in the hole right here. Most guns will have about 3 holes. You can put it to whichever one you want for the eye relief that you're looking for. I usually do the furthest back one. It's just what my eye relief likes. You know, if you need a little bit further away, you can go to the middle. The front one's a little too far, so I wouldn't really use that one, but use the one of the front two. When a spring gun fires, it's gonna have recoil forwards and backwards. So this little pin is gonna keep our mount steady in it because it's gonna be going into the bottom of it. So it'll go on top and it'll keep it from moving around too much. So on the bottom of your mount, there's gonna be a little hole where this arrestor pin is gonna go. Now, so what you're gonna do is gently put it in with your finger, just so it's a little tight, but that's obviously way too long to go into here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to push it down, and because I have this beautiful table right here, and you might have your kitchen table or something, you don't really necessarily wanna do it on something that will hurt your table, hurt whatever surface that you're doing this on. So I'm gonna put it on the rubber mat right here, so I don't do anything to the table. When you're doing this, also remember, remove the top half of your mount, because if you did, it would be a circle right here. You'd be wobbling all over the place. So if you take that top part off, put it down, you're nice and even, you have a good space to hit it with. As you can see, this arrestor pin is way too high. I like to get it flush with the mount. So what I like to do is take a little hammer or anything that you can just slightly tap it in. So what we're gonna do is hold this down a little bit here, just give it some taps. Feel if it's flush. It is not yet, so keep on going. And a couple more. And perfect. That's the perfect distance for how deep this is. You don't want it to be too low, and then it won't catch. And if you do it too high, then your mount is gonna sit up. So try to get it right here. I like it to be about flush with the rest of the mount. So perfectly like that. That should do exactly what we want it to do. So now what we do is put it in the hole that we'd like it to, kind of give it the wiggle test. It looks good. And then we are going to use a 4mm on these ones specifically, tighten it down. And once again, if you don't have a torque wrench, we'll just go nice and hand tight and then go a little bit more. That's it. Do not over tighten, don't under tighten. You go hand tight and then a little bit more and you're good to go. So now I'll put on this front one on this dovetail rail here. This is an 11mm dovetail rail. So that's what most spring guns do have. Some have 13, but I'd say the majority of them have the 11mm. So it has these grooves right here and these grooves in cut right there. So when you put it on, it'll tighten up nice. This front one will not have an arrestor pin. This one is going to be free because that one has the hole, it has to be there. This one, I'm gonna take the Athlon Talos 3-12x40, which I really like on spring guns, holds up extremely well. So lifetime warranty as well. So I'm gonna get it to where I want. So that looks about right to me. So what I'm doing here is I'm keeping ample space between this right here and as much space as I can away from these turrets. And I got a room away from this, room away from here. So I'm gonna tighten this one down. Once it's in the spot that I want it to be, tighten it down, hand tight, one little bit more, we're good to go. So now that the bottom two are secure, can't move those at all, we'll put on the tops. Now, what we're going to do is put them nice and loose because we're not going to tighten these down. It's really important, if you can see the spacing right here, we don't want to go all the way to one side or the other. We're going to want a little bit of spacing on both sides so they're nice and even, so the pressure is going down on top versus going to the right or to the left. Now, we'll put the other one in nice and loose. We'll do the same for this side, making sure to leave space right here. We're not bottoming out. Nice and even on this side as well. Okay, and now we need to level it. So I have a bubble level here. So it's tough on a spring gun because this isn't level right here. This is a little bit rounded. So I'm gonna have to find the flattest part of my rifle. For me, on this Weirock HW50, I'm gonna put it right here on the end of the stock where it has a nice flat spot. So what I'm gonna do is get this nice and level. Okay, now I want my scope to be level as well. So I'll put it up here. That's obviously way off. So what I like to do is kind of press down a little bit so your gun stays nice and level, and then you can rotate your scope. To nice and level. Now we need to recheck this because I may have moved it. So check this again. It actually looks really good. So now that we're level on both sides, we're going to go from the back first. So we're gonna go hand tight and then a little bit more, hand tight, a little bit more, and then make sure your spacing right here is the same spacing that's right here. We want even pressure on both of them. So we'll see here, we'll go hand tight, a little more, this side, hand tight, and a little more, with even spacing on both these sides. That should be a pretty solid straight reticle right now, aligned with your gun. So now you'll just have to sight it in properly. Now that you have your scope on, you might want to play with the eye relief a little bit. So when you go up, put your cheek where it's comfortable for you, and then get that eye relief that you want. So this looks pretty good for me right now. That's where I'd like it to be. If it wasn't, there's two different ways you can do it. If you have enough space right here, with these a little bit loose, you can move it a little bit forward, move it a little bit back. You're just gonna have to re-level this, which is fine. Or you can move this one right here. We're not gonna wanna move this one because it has that stop pin, that arrestor pin. This one is going to stay stationary always. We can adjust right here by getting our 4mm, loosening it up. These are already loose on here, so we can move this a little bit. And then we can move our scope to adjust for more eye relief either this way or that way. But just remember, if you do move this one, you need to put it back down nice and tight. Then we need to re-bubble level because we have moved this. So make sure it's good for your eye relief here. Make sure this is level here, and then we'll screw it back down. We covered some important parts. Make sure to get that arrestor pin in this mount. It is extremely crucial because spring guns do have movement both ways. If you don't have that arrestor pin or stop pin, your scope's going to move on you. It's not gonna be fun. You're gonna be fighting, sighting in the whole time. So that's the most important part. Also, second most important part, making sure we're not doing these screws too tight. You don't need to crank them. Do hand tight plus a little bit more, and make sure we have even spacing here and on this side to make sure that the pressure is going down evenly. We don't want it going from one side or the other. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want me to do anything else, please comment below what kind of videos you'd like me to make. I'd like to see what people are wondering about. I talk to people on the phone all day, and I'm gonna try to do some videos that I think are questions I get on the regular for new air gunners. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I can keep on making these videos for you guys. Have a good one.